away, Mark Owen and a couple of other members of SEAL Team 6 kneeled around a mangled body on the third floor of the house in Abbottabad, Pakistan. Everything the CIA analyst told them about the raid on Osama bin Laden's house had checked out exactly as she said. But was this bin Laden?
You know, in my mind, he looked way younger than I thought he was going to be. His beard wasn't gray at all. You know, I'd studied lots of photos of him, and you know, they were always gray. His beard was dark black. Identifiably, he was very tall. So, okay, you know, you can kind of chalk that up as something.
Bin Laden was about 6'4".
Right. His nose, to me, was something that I could kind of identify. So, you know, kind of looking at the profile shots and everything, I was like, okay, I was pretty sure that was him. But, you know, I'm not willing to make that call. Certainly not at that point.
Not willing because Owen says they suspected the president was listening at the White House, and he was right. The helicopter crash had been reported up the chain of command. Owen says the SEALs wanted proof before anyone said anything on the radio about killing Osama bin Laden. They turned to one of the SEALs in the room who spoke Arabic.
So he moved out to where the women and kids were, grabs one of the younger kids, says, hey, who is that inside? She says, Osama. Osama who? Osama bin Laden.
The child.
The child.
Identified him.
Yeah. Grabbed one of the females, asked her again, and say, hey, who is that? She said, Osama bin Laden. So,
does a cheer go up among the SEALs? You start shaking hands, patting each other on the back?
Nothing. It's all business. We're on the clock here. So we call up the commanding officer. He comes upstairs, looks at the body. We give him what we have so far. Hey, here's what he looks like. Take a look. He's tall. Women and kid confirm it. He took one look. Said, okay, I think that's him.
The commander used the code word for bin Laden, Geronimo, as he passed the message to Admiral McRaven. For God and country, he said, I pass Geronimo, Geronimo, EKIA, which stands for enemy, killed in action. 20 minutes had passed. 10 minutes left on the schedule.
We wanted to collect DNA samples. We wanted to take photographs of them. And then we wanted duplicate copies of that. So obviously we're taking the body out, but if a helicopter got shot down on the way out and it had the body, we wanted the other helicopter to have DNA and photos so they'd have some sort of evidence that said, hey, we do have them, and here it is.
You wanted duplicates of everything?
Yeah, just in case.
You thought of everything?
We tried.
One SEAL took blood and saliva samples. Owen took the pictures.
I figured these were probably some of the most important photos I'd ever taken in my life, so, you know, make sure I do it right, get good angles and all this other stuff, but, you know, you gotta clean off the face so it's as identifiable as possible. So one of my buddies had a Camelback with some water in it. Got some, you know, spread some water on him, took a sheet off the bed, kind of wiped the blood off, and then took photos.
Wiping the blood off of Osama bin Laden's face. Camelback is one of those backpacks that has a water bladder in it, and you use it to drink water out of, but you used it to wash his face.
Mm-hmm.
And you shot pictures of his face in a profile. Can you describe what they look like?
They're pretty gruesome.
Well, when you say gruesome, what are we talking about?
He had a bullet wound in the head, so that gruesome.
Two SEALs took the body downstairs and zipped bin Laden into a bag. In the bedroom, Owen found an assault rifle and a pistol on a shelf.
And some people would argue that, you know, why did that point man take those shots? Well, immediately, the first door we went to, my team was engaged by enemy fire through the door. So automatically, we know we're going into an enemy compound. Shots being fired back at us immediately. AK found next to Khalid on the stairs. All those boxes have been checked that if a guy sticks his head around the corner, he very easily could have a gun. You don't wait to get that AK or the grenade thrown down the hall or the suicide vest. So in the split second, that's when he engaged.
He did have a gun, but he didn't use it. And I wonder what you make of that.
I think in the end, he taught a lot of people to do, you know, martyr themselves, and he masterminded the 9/11 attacks. But in the end, he wasn't even willing to roger up himself with a gun and put up a fight. So I think that speaks for itself.
Back on the second floor, the SEALs were grabbing computers, disks, flash drives, videotapes, more priceless intelligence than they could carry.
There was so much stuff in this house.
The guys were just stuffing this stuff in garbage bags?
We had carried bags with us, but we filled all these bags up. So you just find some, an old gym bag on Target, dump out whatever's in it, and use that. As we were running out, I look over at my buddy. He's got a bag of stuff in one hand, like, Santa Claus running out of there. A bag full of goodies in one hand that he collected, and a computer terminal in the other.
The plan had been to be on the ground for 30 minutes, but now they were a few minutes late. It was after 1:30 a.m.
Now things are starting to pick up outside. People have obviously woken up at this point. They're coming over to investigate what's going on.
They were the neighbors, and they had a lot of questions for the SEALs standing guard outside the wall.
So that's where things could get real dynamic for that team outside. Everybody wants to know what's going on inside. That team had way more responsibility than just about anybody else, because they were dealing with all the what-ifs outside.
What if the police showed up, or the military?
We're running out of time. We got to get going. There's neighbors approaching. The interpreter that was out here said, hey, there's a police operation going on here. Go back to your homes. And they'd simply go back away.
Among the unfinished business was the crashed helicopter. It was a secret design loaded with secret gear. They had to blow it up. A message was passed to their explosives expert, called the EOD man. Prep it to blow, they said. But the "it" in the message was a little vague.
The EOD guy thinks he means prep the house to blow. So there we are in the middle of this, and he's like, okay, roger that, prep to blow. So he's running around the first floor of the house, setting his charges, getting ready to blow up the house. And somebody looks over and like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm prepping it to blow. He's like, not the house, the helicopter. Well, he hadn't got the word that there was a helicopter even down. He's like, what helicopter? He's like, the one in the courtyard, go take a look. So he runs outside, sees the helicopter, and then they proceed to rig it to blow.
It was past time to go. 2 large helicopters called CH-47s, filled with reinforcements and fuel, had been standing by during the raid. The remaining Black Hawk would return for half of the SEALs. A CH-47 would pick up the rest.
The Black Hawk was picking us up, lands first. We run through the field, carrying the body in the body bag, load the remaining Black Hawk, and then we slowly lift off and move away. While they're waiting for the 47 to come in, the timer on the charges is ticking down.
The explosion on this helicopter is coming. How much time have they got?
Not much left.
Minutes.
They're under 30 seconds. They're running down. The team leader that was in charge of the demo team, he gets a hold of the commanding officer, gets him on the radio talking to the 47, tells the 47 to do a go-around as he's doing the go-around to the south. Boom, the charge goes. Our Black Hawk's already gone. This explodes, big, huge explosion. The 47 comes right back around, lands, the guys load on, and now they're airborne. We're done. We're clean from the target.
That glow at the compound was the helicopter on fire. The SEALs were on the ground about 38 minutes, which meant their Black Hawk had been in the air, waiting a little longer than planned.
Sure enough, I'm sitting in the helicopter, and you turn around and look in the cockpit, and I see flashing red lights. Well, I'm not a pilot, but anything flashing red in a vehicle is typically not good. Those gas gauges. We're about to run out of fuel.
During their escape, the SEALs were forced to land in Pakistan. One of the CH-47s was waiting on the ground and refueled their Black Hawk. The Pakistanis didn't get you on the way in, but you're concerned they're going to get you on the way out.
Sure, we got to get out of here.
When did you know that you were out of Pakistan?
They radioed over, came on over the radio, said, hey, we're back in Afghanistan.
And you thought what?
Big sigh of relief, and wow, we might have actually pulled this off. This is crazy.
Was there ever a point, Mark, in which you shook hands with each other, slapped each other on the back?
Yeah, once we landed, everybody kind of hugged and high-fived and took a couple photos, and, it was our 5-minute, hey, cool, we pulled this off, good job, and then it was back to work.
In his book, Owen describes how they loaded the body onto a pickup truck and brought it to a hangar where Vice Admiral McRaven, head of Joint Special Operations Command, was waiting. They unzipped the bag. Standing nearby was that CIA analyst who had spent years on Bin Laden's trail.
Miss 100%, the woman who told you that she was 100% certain that they had Osama Bin Laden.
Right. So we're all in the hangar. Immediately we saw her, and she started crying. And it was a pretty significant event in her life, I'm sure.
6 hours later, the president announced it to the world.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama Bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, we watched it live. It was, they had some TVs set up in the hangar that we were at, and literally still in your camouflage uniform, our gear kind of set to the side, and we heard it was coming on, and we went and gathered around and watched the address.
What did you think?
Now the world knows that we've got him.
When you landed back in the United States, I mean, what did you think of all the media coverage?
It was all surreal because, this had all been so hush-hush leading up to it. We went and did it, and that was the biggest news story ever. We got on a bus. They drove us back to work. I didn't even go in. They told us we had a couple days off, and I grabbed my keys, went and got in my truck, and I put it in the book, but, I hit Taco Bell on the way home, hit the drive-thru, a couple tacos, and, ate it in my car right there, and then drove home.
You were part of the team that killed Osama Bin Laden, and the first thing you do when you get back to the United States is go to Taco Bell.
2 tacos and a bean burrito. It's routine.
Life has been anything but routine for Mark Owen since the publication of his book was announced. We'll have that